SnailTrail4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic Tacomas are no longer.
Maybe.
How do you phrase that? How fantastic it is to no longer have a be a Tacoma, be from Tacoma, be with a Tacoma, be Tacoma. I don't know what though.
I'm going to leave all that in.
Then this may be the podcast for you.
Keep trying to figure it out.
I'll figure it out eventually. Maybe I'll try to figure it out at the end of the podcast.
It'll be your last words.
Yeah. Welcome everybody to today's episode. This is Monday episode. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Let's see. When is this coming out? This is coming out. Moonlight Madness was last weekend.
Yeah.
If you were out at Moonlight Madness, you got to see MFR Ryan. He was out there with Kermit and the Forerunner. So having a good time doing some night wheeling in the Shaver Lake area, Dinky Creek, Bald Mountain. So let's see. What do we got on the docket for today, man?
Well, we've got a new competition starting with our friends over at Walter Surface Technologies.
Yes.
And that is on the Instagram over at SnailTrail4x4. It's our most favorite giveaway, the one where you tag one friend and you and that friend win the giveaway.
Yep. And just a reminder, as always with this one, the people you tag need to be people that we can get a hold of.
Yes.
However, bonus goes out to if people tag Deck Shepherd
and Richard Hammond,
and they reach out to us to collect their winnings, you get some extra bonus prizes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get you a bonus prize. And if they join us on a podcast, we'll give you another bonus prize.
Yeah, there you go.
So go over there. I think this one's giving away drill bits. We've got a few drill bit sets to give away, which everybody needs drill bits.
Everybody can always
If you listen to Thursday's episode, you'll understand why I need some drill bits.
Yes, especially Jimmy.
You need, yes, absolutely. So, check out SnailTrail4x4 Instagram account and make a comment down there with tagging a friend. And hopefully you guys win.
Yep. We have winners from last week's giveaway, but we will announce them on Thursday.
We announced them on Thursday.
Oh, we already did announce them?
Yeah.
So,
well,
no.
Wait. I'm all confused. We have some to announce this last Thursday, and we have some to announce this Thursday.
Yes.
Going out of order on this is difficult.
Yeah, we're out of order and time traveling, and it's too much for our brains to handle sometimes. Man, good stuff. So it is Tool Month. So hopefully you guys are all following along, and hopefully we haven't confused you too much yet. But there are contests going on every week on Monday, and I believe this week is the final week.
Yes, this is the final
weekly contests.
Yep, this week going on, and as you were correct, this upcoming Thursday we will announce the winner for the Mini Plus grinder.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, I'm caught up now.
We're on the same page, hopefully.
Yes.
So that's going on for the weekly stuff. We did for the first week, we did a Railmate. Second week was abrasives.
Yes.
A bunch of abrasives for people.
Absolutely. Yep.
Third week was the grinder. And then the fourth week is drill bits. So we got all that. And then we also have the monthly giveaway.
I know. This one's so exciting. We're giving away a mag drill.
Yes, I really want
micro or mini mag.
Yeah, the mini mag.
Mini mag, I think is what it is. So cool. I definitely need one myself.
You definitely could have used one.
I definitely could have used one. So yeah, absolutely. And I can use them in the future for sure. So if you want a chance to win the mini mag drill from Walter, then you have to sign up on iRate 4x4 underneath the Snail Squad section there as giveaway tiers, and you will be entered to win that. And you need to sign up by the end of the month.
Yeah.
That's this month's giveaway. We have not figured out what next month's giveaway is yet.
I think we know, actually.
Okay, never mind. We know what next month's giveaway is.
Yeah, we were going to do it originally for June, and then we were like, oh, Tool Month is June. We can't do that.
Okay. So I think I know.
I think you know. I think you know what I know.
I think I know.
Yeah. So yeah, we got lots of fun stuff going on for Tool Month. Along with, not really along with Tool Month, but kind of in conjunction with Tool Month, there's another really cool giveaway that Walter just happens to be doing. And it is a 2-year lease for a 2024 F-150 Tremor built out by Walter. So that giveaway, we talked a little about it with Corey last week on last Monday, but essentially go into your local welding supply store and just take a picture with welding products that Walter or Drillco or what was the other one? Triumph?
Yes, all of them.
All that the welding supply store should carry. It's a very, very popular brand with welding supply stores. The whole goal of this is to get more foot traffic into our local welding supply stores, right? Support our local stores, go in there, check out what they have to offer, take some pictures with some Walter, Drillco, or Triumph stuff, send it into, there's a QR code that we have in the show notes. You send that picture into the QR code, but if you send in the picture with a receipt saying you purchased some of those items, you can send that into us and get an extra entry, and we will get that over to the correct people to get the extra entry.
Maybe we should confirm a little bit, get a confirmation. I think we have our own small additional giveaway going on.
Got it.
With Walter.
There's a lot going on this month.
Yeah. And Lawless going on there. Plus they have their giveaway going on.
Gotcha.
So if you do everything that is required for the entry to win the Tremor, and send that into Walter, you get entered there, and send it to us. We have our own little additional giveaway going on.
Gotcha. That's what it was.
So I couldn't grab the QR code. I'll make a note of that to try to put that into the show notes. But yeah, go in, snap a photo, send it to us. You get an entry. If you send us a receipt, you get another entry. Mm-hmm. And if you send what's required to the QR code on Walter, you get entered in theirs. They're doing monthly giveaways until I think November when the main drawing is. Mm-hmm. And I think ours goes, we're collecting everybody's information, and whoever has the most points at the end of that, or a random choice. I'm not sure what we're doing there.
I think we're doing a random drawing.
Drawing. Okay.
You increase your chances by having more points. So,
that sounds great. Ours goes till the end of August.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, I hope I got all that right.
I think we got it.
Okay.
There's a lot going on. So
yes.
If you guys are confused by that, just shoot us a message and we can lay it out for you in writing. I think that does it. So that's giveaway stuff going on like normal. And I don't know, should you guys know what's going on with reviews. Make sure you guys are going and leaving reviews. We just did the swag pack giveaway. Have you heard from our winner?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't have it written down either. Do you remember the name? I wrote it down.
It was like 85 second gen
pickup. It was a
pickup.
1986 Toyota 4x4 pickup.
I think something like that. Yeah.
So if that is you need to get in contact with us.
Yep. Get in contact with us. Prove that you own that iTunes account. And we'll tell you how when you do it. And you win a swag pack and an OnX Elite membership. So I think that does it. That's good. Speaking of OnX, we have a really cool guest on today for you guys. It's going to talk a little bit about the OnX Build Challenge. We're trying to figure out while we were interviewing him how many times he's been on the show now, if he's our number one interviewed person or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think it's close between him and Lawless Corey.
Maybe. Yeah.
So,
or our significant others, now that I'm thinking about it.
No, that's true. They don't count, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, him, Lawless Corey are definitely in the runnings.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, cool. Let's get him on, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. Go ahead and grab your favorite drinks, grab your favorite popcorn. We'll be right on back with today's campfire discussion with Nate from Dirtlifestyle.
The 4-Wheel Underground website just got an upgrade. Come on by and check out the new functionality, new photos, and new pricing. Finally works on mobile too. Visit 4wheelunderground.com and find your new suspension today.
Oh, welcome back, ladies, gentle ladies, kiddos, boys, girls, doggos, everybody out there. Let's see, we got somebody fun in the studio back in. I think this might be his third or fourth time now.
Yeah, you might be our most interviewed person.
You think so? We'll have to double check.
No way.
Well, Corey
Really?
might be. I think him and Corey.
Maybe. You're definitely up there.
Yeah. Anyways, we got Nate back in the studio. Nate, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. Doing good. It's good to chat with you guys. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. I think last time we chatted and on recording when we were hitting a button was around this time last year, because it was about the build challenge that OnX does that you're a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just catch up a little bit before we get into the build challenge, because that's always a fun topic to chat about. We want to hear kind of a recap of how last year's challenge went for you. But what have you've been up to quite a few things since we chatted with you, man. You've had some big changes in life.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot of them. Actually, the biggest one is probably the move. We moved like an hour and a half away from where we used to live. We got out of the city, we got out into the country, and now I'm able to. Tacoma is it's a rough spot, and I didn't want to raise my kids there. And for the last 5 years, every year I'm like, okay, there's no way the housing market could get any worse. It's got to go down. So we finally got to the point at the beginning of this year. I was like, I've been waiting for way too long to move. Let's find the house we want. Let's pull the trigger and let's make this happen. So since February, I have been moving, and we just closed on our old house. We just sold it and closed like 2 weeks ago. So now all of my things are officially in the same county, and I'm very excited to move forward with life and not be living in a big city anymore, just doing the country thing.
Yeah, congrats on closing the old house. The new property though looks absolutely amazing. Like it's just looks like you're almost like homesteading in a sense. It's just out in the woods, nothing else around. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, dude, it's definitely like PNW homesteading. It's awesome. Like the amount of we have lots and lots and lots and lots of trees and lots of like blackberries, and it's badass. And I mean, I see snakes like every day. My daughter just caught a snake and like carried it up to my wife, who freaked out, which is hilarious. She watched. So I was mowing, and I kept telling the kids, I'm like, guys, I see snakes nonstop. You just got to like stop running around. They're 4 and 6. You just got to stop running around, like look down, And so I'm like mowing. I've got a riding lawnmower, and I see one. So I like turn off the lawnmower while simultaneously like jumping off onto a snake so I could catch it and go show my kids. And I'm like, guys, get over here. And so after I caught that snake, perhaps I instilled like no fear. It's not good. I should I don't want them to be scared of things, but they need to be cautious, because Dad's not even around. My daughter's out there playing, and she just like, oh my gosh, she like grabs the snake by the tail and just like comes up to my wife and just like, look. And yeah, so it's pretty awesome.
To undergo snake catching training.
Dude, definitely. We had a talk. I was like, some snakes bite, guys. You can only catch the super small ones. But so far, I mean, Pacific Northwest doesn't have a whole lot of like poisonous stuff.
Okay.
So so far, all the snakes I've seen are not poisonous, and they're all really. I grew up in Oklahoma, where snakes are like, they're huge and they all want to kill you. This is like, I'm not that worried. But
we got kind of smaller, mostly smaller snakes here in California. In the Sierras, the big one that we have to watch out for is the Western Diamondback. But those are pretty easy to tell that they're bad snakes. They're danger noodles because they make a lot of noise when you come near them. Yeah. But the other ones, we have garter snakes. We have, what is that? The king snake?
Yeah.
King, not the coral. Coral's the poisonous one.
Yes.
So we got
to have rattlesnakes around though too. Those definitely make the noise.
Yeah. So other than rattlesnakes, they're pretty non-poisonous snakes. So it's like, if it's making noise, stay away from it. If it's not making noise, you can go play around with it.
Yeah, right. That's kind of
if
a good rule of thumb.
Curled up and looks like it's going to attack you, don't approach.
Yeah,
totally.
So how much land did you get?
I'm on 6 acres.
Wow. Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's funny. Every time I give like a friend comes over and I give them the tour and stuff, it seems like so much more just because the way the land is like laid out, and it's surrounded by acreage. So it feels just so much bigger than 6. It's great. It's like my kids get to live in a park, they get to go outside and play and just get into stuff every day. And then I've been like making like little wheeling trails for my K truck.
Nice.
It's been super fun. So like, Yeah, like my mom came over for Mother's Day and I'm like, Mom, I'm going to take you wheeling. So she hops in the K truck and we're just like bombing around my property and like getting stuck and shit. It's awesome, dude. It's been so fun just playing around on my own little chunk of land out here.
How is the K truck? I've never looked into them, but I've definitely watched some of your content with the K truck. Some other people have K trucks. I'm just like, it just seems like this goofy little thing that wouldn't hold up to any abuse, but they seem to. How is having one?
Well, it's a tough question to answer only because there's so many, right?
Okay.
It's like, dude, the thing about the K truck is they all look the same. They're and like 99% of them are white. 99% of them have like fold down rear bed sides. But when you like peel back the layers of the onion, they're all like very, very different. Like the Subaru versus the Suzuki versus the Daihatsu versus the Honda. There's a whole bunch of companies that make these things and they're all different. The one that I have is a Subaru Sandbar, and I did a lot of research, and everything indicated that this was a really good, like well-rounded truck. And so my relationship with it has been really good. I haven't broke anything yet, and we beat on it hard. And like I'll go fill the bed with half a yard of gravel and bring it home, which is like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And we use it nonstop. But that said, though, there's a caveat. This thing, it is unbelievable how small it is. Like my wife, she followed me into town the other day because we were like showing some friends around, and I was driving the Sandbar, and she did not like the idea of me driving this on the street as much as I do. So it's becoming a ranch truck where it's going to stay on the property and occasionally go to town to get stuff. But I had to go buy another truck so that she doesn't feel like I'm just going to die if I get in a fender bender. So yeah, because dude, your toes are the front bumper. Like there is no, like the accelerator pedal rests on on the freaking headlight. Like it's all just so small in there.
I'm 6'4". Would I have to like make a hole in the front of the vehicle to get my foot out and move the accelerator pedal outside of the vehicle?
Dude, I think so. Like I'm between 6 foot and 6'1", and it's doable for me, but it's snug, dude. Like super snug. Like I wouldn't want to be any taller, that's for sure.
So it's a perfect truck for Jimmy then.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be spacious. What are you talking
about? That's funny. I have an employee who's like, I forget what the word is. Enamored with the idea of K trucks, and so he keeps watching your content. He goes, "Did you see what Nate did with his K truck the other day?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I don't think you guys have the same flexibility in California that we do, though.
Not quite.
As far as registering them because like I can drive this down the freeway, which I wouldn't, but I can drive it anywhere in Washington. But like in Oregon, you can't register it for anything other than a side-by-side. So, yeah. And I heard that California is the same way. And what's funny is that I swear I've seen them driving down the road in California, but
probably depends on the township and whether the law enforcement cares or not.
That's true.
Yeah. The big thing I've come to realize about California is there's a lot of stuff that's illegal, but it really comes down to who's going to enforce it. Like there's some counties where there's, stricter gun laws or whatever due to the state. And then the county sheriff are like, yeah, we think that's dumb. We're not going to enforce it kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it all comes down to who's going to enforce it. There's a law there on the books, but it all comes down to enforcement. So,
yeah.
But that's rad, dude. The K truck, the property out there, everything just looks awesome. The new shop looks amazing. What you've been doing with it. Tell us a little bit about how big is that shop? How much square footage is that?
It's a 40 by 50, so 40 feet by 50 feet. It's 50 deep by 40 wide. And it's really close to the same size as my old shop, but it feels so much bigger because of the way I'm doing the layout. And I built a loft, so it's taller than my last shop was.
Yeah.
And I'm taking advantage of that vertical space. It's been, it took me like 14 weeks to build it out. It's still not done. I need to build a railing on the loft and so a couple small things, but it's at least at a point now where it's a usable, functional shop. It was in need of a lot of repair. Like the roof was leaking in like 20 places, and it it needed to be finished. So that's what I've been doing the last few months, is just getting this thing up to snuff so I can start building trucks again instead of working on properties.
There you go. Yeah, the you're with the addition of the loft and everything in there, that usable space, like you're saying. So it's a 40 by 50, but you have what, 60% more square footage than your old shop, roughly?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how to do that math, dude. I went to public school, but
What amount of the floor space is covered in the loft?
so the loft is so 40 by 50 would be what, like 2,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
So the loft, if you subtract the stairs, because I never add stairs in usable square footage.
Yeah.
So the loft would be 404 square feet. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it's only
I think
about 20%
that,
more, but that's pretty good still. I mean, I love what you do with the loft too. You kind of, that hardware wall you set up, I'm like, oh
yeah.
if I had an extra wall in my my garage.
Yes. So the extra wall. So that is why I wanted to divide it up the way I did, is because what I found is that the more walls that I can create, the more square footage it feels like I have. So the stairs, most lofts, people will put stairs off to one side, or they'll put stairs sometimes outside with a door, or like, I did my stairs to where it's in the middle of the loft, or not to, it's like in a third in, because then it compartmentalized things into rooms and I had more walls. So that's why I did it in that way, to make it to where I just have like these different zones that are like more well-defined. And then I can have like a hardware area and a, grinding room underneath the hardware area and whatnot. Instead of it just basically being like another floor with, the middle part of your space is for like working, but I had enough middle part that I could divide out the rest of it. Does that make sense? That's what I'm trying.
No, totally. It does.
You used the stairs to create a usable wall, more or less.
Yes, exactly.
You are able to compartmentalize, create rooms because of the usable wall. And
exactly.
Yeah. And I wanted to say that your reference to Alex Steele in a grinding room totally hit home, because I've totally thought the same thing at some point. I'm like, how genius is it to have, more or less, air quotes,
absolutely,
a dirty room? Like you have this area that you just create your mess in, and then you take it out, and then you go and work in a cleaner shop scenario. Like, granted, there's going to be times that you're going to be welding or grinding on a vehicle, but whenever you have that opportunity to take it into the dirty room, that's going to be so awesome.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing, is there's going to be lots of times where I'm going to have to be grinding out there, but it's just, the idea is to try to keep the space as clean as possible. So, the big jobs like clearing an axle, I mean, it just creates so much insane dust and dirt and grime.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that in its own space is just such a huge leg up. Whereas, if you have to grind a little paint off so you can weld a bracket on a frame, that doesn't create near the mess. So, anyway, yeah, that was the whole, and the Alex Steele thing, dude. I mean, his videos are great. I haven't watched him in a while, to be honest, but like, I went down, I think it was like during COVID, I just went down this like Alex Steele rabbit hole, and I was like, I want to forge stuff. But every time I saw him in that grinding room, I was just like, I have to have that one day.
Yeah, I really tried to take some inspiration from his videos and put them into mine, with all the slow-mo, like metal, like the beautiful metal slamming together and the hammer hitting it, and then like whatever it's called,
sparks of the slag,
of the slag falling off and all that. I was like, that's so gorgeous. How can I put that into my videos? And then I never, besides grinding or welding, I really haven't figured out a way.
It's tough. It's another job all entirely. It's like trying to figure out how to edit in a way that's palatable and entertaining and fun, and making things cinematic, but not making them corny, and like Alex Steele did a really good job at all that. Well, with what he builds too, there's so much hammer work that you'll see he's definitely like changing the frame rate so that the hammer's hitting to the beat of the song, like it's badass.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
Are you still doing all your own editing and production work, Nate, for your stuff?
Right now, I'm doing roughly 100% of all of that work.
Jeez.
And I would love to get an editor one day. I'm just not there yet. I think my goal the goal has been for a long time to open up my own off-road shop. And when that happens, I want to have a full-time photographer, videographer, and editor like on site so that they can work together. And then all I have to do is voiceover. But the way that I would have to do it right now would be remote editor. And by the time I have to cut all my own footage roughly on a timeline and then upload it and then have a meeting about whatever and then them do it and then me review it, I could just edit the whole thing.
Yeah, true.
And so that's why I have it set up the way that I do. And because, I've been editing, I've edited so many videos at this point now. I'm really proficient at it. And so instead of having to explain to somebody where this clip falls in or where I want something changed, it's like I could just get the damn thing done. So I want and need an editor and a videographer so I can make more content, but it just won't happen until we actually open up our own off-road shop one day.
About how much time does it take you? Because I think that's one thing. People look at YouTube videos and Instagram content and they're like, oh yeah, you can just kind of shoot this and upload it. But I don't think people really truly value the amount of time that content creators put behind the editing and the production, the behind the scenes process. So for a 5-minute video, how much time are you spending behind the scenes for that video?
Before you answer that, Nate, Tyler, are you including the time of shooting the video and everything or just computer work?
Just shooting the video, everything. Okay. So from what somebody may watch on a 5-minute video, they're like, oh, cool, that was 5 minutes of my life that I was entertained by. How much time are you putting in for that 5 minutes of entertainment for somebody?
It's really hard to say, man. It's a lot. Because the reason it's really hard to say is that I've got my shop content, how to film and make it. Like I've got it to a science. So I'm really efficient. Like every day when I get in, I can download my cards real quick. I can throw everything on a timeline. I can chop it. And it's like, if I'm in a phase where I can do a video a week and it's shop content every week and it's just like for a build, then, I'm probably in a video for Sunday, like 6 days, 7 days of work. I'm probably in it like 10 hours ish total.
Wow.
But it goes up a lot more when I do off-road content because I shoot with so many cameras. It's just like organizing all that footage and putting it all on a timeline. Like, for instance, I just did a Nevada backcountry discovery route trip and it was like 8 days of footage and it was like 1.8 terabytes of video.
Damn.
And
Jeez.
That's going to take me 3 to 4 solid weeks to edit. Yeah. So like that won't even be able to come out until like I'm shooting for September because it's basically going to be as I'm trying to shoot and edit these other videos that I'm doing, I'll be like 1 day a week trying to like just focus on that project and just get it to the next step and whatnot. I mean, just like right now I've got all that footage downloaded and it's in like 8, folders, like day 1, day 2, day 3. And then inside those folders, I've got, depending on the day, anywhere between like 8 and 15 cameras of footage to throw on a timeline. And then, so it's going to take me probably a week just to get everything organized on the timeline and make sure that everything's actually in order and upload it. And then, there's all the time it takes to find music that doesn't suck. And then like no one's writing my voiceover for me. I need time to like figure out like what I'm going to say and what angle this part of the story is. And like those videos are so much more involved. And yeah, I mean, well, think about it this way. It's gonna be 3 or 4 weeks to edit an 8-day video. So it takes 8 days to film it. It's 2 days to drive down there, 2 days to drive back. So there's 12 days just in putting the video together. That's not even including trip planning, right?
Yeah.
Then the many weeks afterwards of editing. So for someone to get like a quality 1 hour long off-road video for one of these big projects that I do, I mean, we're talking like 5 weeks of
A month or
of
more.
work
Wow.
in order to make an hour.
Jeez, that's so, and that's mind-boggling to me, right? And that I get there's so many people out there that see you on YouTube or other people like Max or other people on YouTube that they're like, oh yeah, we can just make a video and be famous on YouTube. And I'm like, no, you don't understand how much time and effort goes into the background of these videos and content you're watching. It's not just as easy as, shooting a video on your phone and uploading it to YouTube. You still are going to be putting in a fuck ton of work and time and effort into making a good quality content that people want to watch on YouTube. So that's, I
guess it depends on what your niche is. Some people are so magnetic and they have such a great gift that they can do exactly what you're saying. Like what people think. They think, oh yeah, you could just slop together something on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And some people have that, like whatever that is, some sort of a gift where you just want to see what they're going to do next. And they literally can put anything out, but it's so rare. And when you watch the like total aggregate of successful YouTubers,
mm-hmm.
most of them don't have that. It's only a couple that do.
Mm-hmm.
So like for the rest of us, we got to work hard and learn how to do photography and learn how to do editing. And there's a bunch of planning. And, you get to Matt's off-road recovery level, he's got 20 employees. They have a whole team that puts together things, even though his videos, it's all GoPro and it looks like it's very off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a lot of planning and thought and marketing strategies. And that poor guy's in business meetings nonstop. And, there's a lot that goes into those videos. So like making a successful channel, if you're not that like 1% of 1% of like people that are just naturally magnetic, it's a insane amount of work in order to get to where people give a shit what you're doing.
Yeah. 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 That's a great way of putting it. That was a fun rabbit hole. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I want to take a step back to the shop, your workspace, and I want to talk about the barn, because I know in your video you said, yeah, we've got this fantastic shop where we're going to get a lot of work, but what you guys don't see is everything that's in the barn. And you said, I think in the video you were like, I even planned to walk you guys through it, but now it's dark and we're not going to go over there. So I'm kind of curious, how do you have the two spaces working together? That's what I want to know. I know it sounds like you have a lot of storage of metal in the barn, but so you're moving them back and forth, but how does that work?
So the barn, the beauty of the barn for me is it doesn't need to look all professional and well done and stuff. So I'm building a ton of stuff with wood. We built an axle rack that holds 8 axles off of one of the walls of the barn, all out of 4x4s. And, it's way cheaper. It's way faster to build it that way. And it just matches the aesthetic though. It honestly looks badass all wood because it's just so barn. But the barn right now, it took me from February to the end of May to move out of my old place. And it's because I didn't want to just dump shit everywhere and then have to go through it over a year. What I wanted to do is build out a space at the new house, and then we would move stuff from the old house to that space. And we did that all the way up until the last week. And then it was like, all right, we're at a point now where we can no longer do that. We're gonna have to do a normal move where we're just gonna have to make piles. So the barn right now is like, most of it is in transition. And the other half of it is like being organized to transition those parts and pieces in an organized fashion. So the upstairs was really sketchy. So it was difficult to get all the sheets up there, but we resheeted everything with sub 5/8 subfloor T&G. So it's all tongue and groove. And then the guy that works for me, when I don't have stuff for him to do, I'm like, all right, well, go open the barn and just keep on like hammering away at building like shelving. And so like he keeps calling himself my stable boy because I keep having him go down to the barn. He's like, well, as the resident stable boy, I think we should do it this way.
That's funny.
Yeah, because it's right now we're not in the middle of a project. I don't have like a bunch of stuff in front of him that I can just be like, all right, yeah, I need you to clear off this axle. And then tomorrow we're going to it's not like that. We're still in this transitionary phase. We're just at the end of that move. So there's times where I need to film and make a video, or I need to do this or that. And then I'll just be like, dude, you know where we are in the barn. We just keep moving just so we can get this thing put together. So once the barn is like hammered out and we have everything where it's supposed to go, and I mean, I've been trying to make the ground under the barn not as soft because my forklift sinks in there really bad.
Oh, no.
Well, drive it
So
over a
to-
bunch of times, you know, that'll solve that problem.
Dude, I'm telling you, so I put a whole bunch of what's called 3-. It's 3-inch rock and less, and coated the whole bottom, and then I rented a jumping jack and compacted it all down. It's still not hard enough. That
Wow.
forklift's so heavy. So my employee right now actually just went and got 2 more yards of 3-, and he's spreading it in the barn. Again, we're going to try to put like 3 or 4 inches of rock in the bottom,
Wow.
compact it down again so that I can drive the forklift down there. Because it's just, it's off-road stuff, dude. There's so many heavy parts and pieces. And I'm at the age now where I'm not trying to lift that stuff by hand.
You don't want to lift a 10.5 Sterling around by yourself?
Big dude, you nailed it. We have a 10.5 Sterling in there. It's yeah. And there's certain things like my Unimog. I've got a spare set of Mogs now, and those they have to be transported via forklift. There is no other means of moving these things around.
Can't even move their third member around. That thing's so big.
Dude, totally. They're ridiculous, man. Yeah. So, but anyways, that's where the barn is right now. It's just in this, the shop is farther along than the barn. The shop is at a point where I can actually make content in the shop now. And then, Nick is going to be working in the barn, getting things dialed so that we can, my goal with this new house is I want it to be super easy for me to make content. I want to be able, I don't want to have to trip over stuff in order to get to other stuff. I want to be able to work efficient. I want to be able to make projects happen faster. I want to be able to make more videos. And with the property that we have, I'm able to like shoot some review stuff on, if I wanted to do a tire video, I could cut a bunch of B-roll from our trips and I could literally be shooting in the woods on my property and make content. Like the whole goal of this place was, it wasn't just getting my kids out of the city and us out of the city. It was like, I need to be in a position where I can make content more easily and not be like worried about listening to I can't even tell you how many times I had to stop a video because my neighbor's mowing at the last house.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. So it's just, I'm trying to set this up where it's like a 6-acre facility that I can just film whatever I need to like right now.
Yeah. Now you're going to be stopping videos to grab snakes and get them out of the chute.
I bet people would love that. They'd love if I caught some video of my daughter catching a snake. People would probably think that's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's cool, man. Congratulations on the property. It sounds freaking awesome. I love the stuff that you're doing with it. I love the vision. Did you have like, is all this stuff that you just had in your head that you're like, I wish it was done this way? Or did you have inspiration from watching other videos, like other content out there? Or did you do a lot of research to be like, what's the best way to set up a welding combination, dirty grinding spaces kind of thing? Or were you just like, no, I just need it this way?
The answer is a combination of things. So like, I started when I first started like just building stuff, it was in my dad's garage when I was in high school. And he didn't have any tools, but my grandpa had like given me some tools. And then I started investing in tools early. And then we went from that to like when I met my wife and she was my girlfriend, we got this super tiny place in a 1-car garage with like a gravel floor. And that was like the first time I was able to I was able to get junkyard axles, cut everything off, weld it all on, like in this teeny tiny space with like one light, and it just went from there. And every space got a little bit bigger. And then I would start to get these ideas of how like, wow, this would be so nice if I had this or that. And so it was just like an accumulation of experiences over the last like 22-ish, I would say, years. And that ended up like, once I got this blank canvas, it was like, it all just came together, and we've been saving for this place for like 9 years. We've been just saving and saving and saving, knowing we wanted to buy a place that had enough space that I could like grow into it. And then I would have lots of room to work and whatnot. And, so it's just a combination of things. And then some of it, was like I've always thought like, I hate that I store all my spray paint just like on a shelf and I can't see what's behind one or the other. And so like, I would just get on Google Images and I would literally just spray paint storage solutions and just comb through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of random images. And then the PVC pipe thing came up and I was like, oh, that is so genius.
Yeah. I like that a lot. That was clever.
Yeah. And so, what sucks is, dude, the amount, I'm a plumber, the amount of PVC pipe I've thrown away. And then like for this, it would have been perfect for small scrap chunks that they just throw away in dumpsters on job sites.
Yeah.
But instead I had to go buy like 80 feet of PVC or whatever it was to like this thing. But,
could have been collecting it over your years.
Yeah.
Dude, I know. Although that's the thing is like, I want to save everything, but it's like you get to a point where like you got to be really picky, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's the answer. Is it's just like a big combination of inspiration and mental notes and whatnot, and then some of it just on the fly. Just like, all right, well, this is the space I'm working with. Let's like figure out a way to optimize it. And so sometimes ideas just pop up as you're going.
Yep. That's cool, man. It's really cleverly done. I love the layout, and I love the different spaces that you did put together. Like everything has its own space and has its own area, but it's all part of the same big area as well. It's really well done. So
yeah.
Thanks, man. Something actually that surprised me before we move on from that. So if you have a YouTube channel and you put yourself out there the way I do, you'll get a lot of praise, but you also get a lot of hate.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I was expecting for sure when I did the shop walk around was people hating on all the pegboard.
Yeah.
Because like I've seen a lot of people shit on pegboard like crazy. It's just it's old tech and it's an old way to organize, right? But this place came with like 4 giant pegboards. And instead of throwing them away, I was like, it's the old school pegboard too, man. It's super thick and like really tough. And they're like 4x8 sheets. So anyway, I painted them all black and incorporated the pegboard. I have yet to see one negative comment. No one has given me a hard time about the pegboard, which is I'm surprised about. I was like, out of all the things people would pick on me about, I thought for sure the pegboard is me front and center, but I think people get it. They're like, yeah, they're like, I think that even if you don't like pegboard, you still get it. You understand like, oh yeah, well, this makes a lot of sense. It's modular. You already had it. It looks good because it's painted black. So the pegboard thing actually worked out pretty good.
So I'm going to start pointing out the pegboard on all your content now and see if I can start
definitely.
a movement.
So what
cool
was,
shot, but bro, what's with that pegboard?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. What was some of the hate you got that you didn't expect?
I knew people were going to bring up the railing, but I think like the level of, I don't want people to, if they hear this, I don't feel insulted.
Okay. So you were amazed by how people talked about how you didn't have the railing up.
Well, I made it so clear that I'm not done. Right. And I find this a lot when people want, well, what's the update with this? Or what's the update with that? It's like, you don't even know. Like, it's so much easier for me to just give you the update, quote unquote, when the thing's done or almost done.
Yeah.
Because people will just hammer you. Like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's like, well, I don't have a vent into my compressor room because I'm not done. I don't have railing up because I'm not done. Yeah. And they're like, well, why did you prioritize this versus that? And it's like, well, I wanted to get everything in the loft before I built the railing. And yes, I'm going to have a removable section of railing, but right now I have 40 feet of space that I can use the forklift to put stuff up there or take stuff off of there.
Right.
And I understand that it's a safety thing. It is not lost on me. It's just not a finished product, So, and also they're not seeing the full picture, which is I have to make money too. So I have to make videos. So the time that it would take to make that railing, which is no one's going to watch, that's not a video. I just had to prioritize other things. I had to make this shop looking as finished as possible. And the railing, unfortunately, was not part of that plan. However, getting all of my electrical organized was definitely part of that plan. Getting all of my bolts and stuff. It's a place that we don't even hardly use yet, so it's not high on the priority list. So I was surprised at the amount of comments. Well, and what's funny too about comment sections on YouTube,
we're going down this rabbit hole.
People will, they're reading the comments before, like a lot of people read comments before they comment. So they're already seeing the pile on of people shitting on you for one thing or another.
Yeah. But
they still feel like they got to get their little piece of the pile in there too. And so, and I don't take it personal anymore. I mean, I professionally read comments for a living. And after 5 years of doing this, it's, that nerve is not nearly as sensitive as it used to be. And, you also get better at understanding like where people are coming from. A lot of people misrepresent the way that they come across online, and they don't mean to sound like an asshole. So, if they're, especially if they're commenting in like the first few hours, they're super fans. They want to see everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're commenting and it comes off negative, oftentimes they're not even meaning to.
Yeah.
They're not sure how to communicate online in a way that doesn't make them sound like an asshole. Like, most of us are dudes that are watching this kind of stuff. We're a little rough around the edges, and we don't even realize that we're coming off shitty online.
Yeah.
So I have a lot more understanding for that kind of thing.
Yeah, everything online is, I mean, if you think about it, we're all trained by text messaging, right? So as short as of a message as you can make is what you're going to do. And so comments on YouTube, comments on Instagram, whatever it is, we just automatically go to how short can I make this message to get my point across? And a lot of times shortness equals abruptness, which equals that you're not happy with something and it comes off bad. So,
and there's context that's lost too, right? When you're communicating via text, there is no context.
Yep.
So like the inflection in your voice, there's things that you could say, like there's some people that are just naturally, they just are funny. They just sound funny.
Mm-hmm.
And they might say things in a way that sounds kind of like it. If you just read it, they sound like they're an asshole. But if you heard them say it, you would laugh.
Yep.
And so it's like, it's communication, man.
Yep.
You know, with some people, it's very clear what their intent is, and their intent is to make you feel like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other people where it's not clear, and they're more than likely just good people that just don't realize that, you know, they don't sound very nice the way they're coming across.
Yeah.
So do you have the railing done yet, or are you still?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I have a request. I have a special request here.
Yeah.
I want to see pegboard railing.
Oh, there we go.
You can find some use for pegboard on a railing, right?
Yeah, sure.
Then you could mount things on either side.
There you go. You create more walls. Come on.
Yeah. You can put decor places, and that's not a bad idea.
That's good stuff. It'll all be low, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man. Good stuff, man. Let's jump over here to the build challenge.
Yeah.
So we had you on last year to talk about the build challenge. You built the 80, the cruiser, which was a lot of fun to watch what you did with it and talked about the plans you had with it. I don't know what episode that was off the top of my head.
No.
Tell people, just search Nate on our podcast and it'll come up as the build challenge from last year.
I'll put a link down in the show notes.
There we go. If people wanted a refresher on it, how did the build challenge, the challenge itself, actually work out for you and everything that happened? Because I know Holly was out of it, right, with her back issue.
Yep.
So how did who all ended up coming to the challenge? How did it all work out? How was it all on that day, the weekend?
Yeah, so Holly was teamed up with Rudy. So once Holly got hurt, Rudy took on the whole build, and he did a great job on the Ram Charger. Then there was Team Bleep and Jeep with Matt and Colt, and then me and Dave Chappelle. And since Dave and I live so far away, it was really tough for us to like coordinate everything, but we made it work.
Mm-hmm.
I made huge miscalculations on the way that I put that together. I thought that the best way to build something to get votes on the internet would be build something that's like super relatable and that you felt like you could do too. But people just ended up voting for, I think,
the outrageous build.
I think so. Yeah. You know, a lot of the comments that I got were people saying like, I just felt like I watched this, do you do body work the whole time, that kind of thing. And it was, you know, it was well received. Like I understood. I mean, I did so much more than body work. That's not very fair. But at the same time, I heard what they're saying. I didn't do axle swaps. I tried to just start with the best truck possible and show that like you can make a super savage, well-rounded truck if you just start at a good starting point and you put the money in the right places. Right. And I think that I totally accomplished that. I mean, that thing could be a daily driver for a soccer mom, and it was on 39s. Yeah. It was not tall. And it was super stable, and it was very practical.
Yeah.
So I was really proud of what we put together, and I love the 80. I like the 80 series to me is just such a great platform.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it didn't get the votes, and that's just the way it is. Like, you know, this is a funny thing. I think that some people are voting for a truck, and then other people are, it's just kind of like
a popularity contest kind of thing.
More or less. And so as a creator, the hard part is like, oh, well, people are literally voting on your popularity. So you're just going to have to swallow however that turns out.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's easy to get I don't want to say fool yourself, but it's easy to have a certain level of ego, like, oh man, I've got 300 some odd thousand subscribers. Like, look at all these people that like what I do. Yeah, well, the facts don't lie, man. Other people won; they were more popular. So that's just the reality of it. And but to me, I came away with a truck that I really happy with. We went and ran Fordyce and Rubicon with it, and everybody there, it was constantly that people were stopping and like watching this thing crawl up stuff and be like, dude, I can't believe that like it's so low, I can't believe that it can do that. You don't see 80 series doing Fordyce type stuff very often.
Not
at least
very
ones
often,
like this.
Yeah, I went out there and met you at Rubicon Springs, and I was shocked about how low that vehicle was still. And it seemed like it was pretty much still on stock suspension height, and then you just trimmed everything away.
Yep, sorry, that was you were talking, so I was like, perfect time for a coffee sip, and then you stopped, and I was like, shit, I'm mid sip. Yeah, it was cool, and the sad truth about the 80 is the weight, the weight allocation is all the opposite of what you want. The axles punch way above their weight class, and the fact that they're ultra strong for like their size. I mean, it's remarkably strong. But they're also, I weighed them. They're so insanely light, and those axles are way lighter than average, and the body is way heavier than average.
Yep.
And that combination makes it super easy to flop 80 series. So
we know how that works.
yeah, bro. I mean, I've multiple friends that have flopped 80 series, and it's because of that. It's that thing, it needed a lift kit so bad in order to perform to its best ability off-road, but I knew what that would look like. Like, it really, in order to lift it, it needs 1 tons, in my opinion, in order to make it to where it can keep the stability and all that other stuff. So, there's no perfect platform, but that I still think the 80 is pretty close to, as perfect as you could expect for something in that price range. And, you could get them all day long with 300,000 miles, and they won't burn a drop of oil. I mean, they're amazing trucks.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, I really like what you did, how you approached the build challenge and trying to show people. It's almost like a cheap truck challenge that like Dirt Every Day used to do. They're like, yeah, let's start with a good platform and see who can make a very capable rig with as little money as possible. So you're having to really pay attention to where you're putting the money in. I thought you did a great job at showing that you can make a pretty badass Rocklander, daily driven Rocklander with not a ton of money if you're just careful about where you do it and you start with the right vehicle. But I do agree. I think the build challenge, if you're looking at winning the build challenge, I think that there's more to it than that.
Yeah, totally.
But I also think that could be also really freeing, because if you're like, you're not the Holly Fowler out there and you're not going to get all the votes, you're like, well, shit, I can kind of do whatever I want and just goof off and have a good time then and be the entertainment factor for it. So
my attitude is more akin to that for this year.
Okay.
Actually, before we move on, the other part that I failed on the build challenge, I do want to address all this, is that, so I've been on UA and I've done lots of UA, so Ultimate Adventure style trips with my friends and stuff. And the one thing that scares all the biggest, baddest rock crawlers is highway. Yeah. I'm telling you.
100%.
And so I was like thinking, I'm like, dude, we're going to be doing this giant comparison of all the vehicles. I thought we were going to be comparing how they perform on the highway as well as off-road. It was like, I'm going to ace everything. And then in the rock crawling, like, I might have to pull cable here or there, but it's going to be a good rock crawler, but it's going to be a great truck. But then when we actually got to the competition, they didn't show any of the stuff. They didn't show that, like, on every single hill, the Land Cruiser's pulling on everybody. And like, you didn't get to see any of like what I thought was the best qualities, which is the fact that it's still such a usable daily. Yeah. So it was miscalculations on my part. And I lost fair and square, and I'm not bitter at all. I got paid to build my own vehicle. Like, who in the world would think that they lost?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And I learned a lot about it, or a lot about like just the whole like, I shouldn't have built it for the audience. I should have just built it for me. And so that's what I'm doing this year. This year is like, I'm sure that if I went and looked at analytics, I could find vehicle makes that are the most popular. I could find what models are the most popular. And I could if I was really focused on winning, I could make sure that I get the most votes based on people want to vote when they see their own vehicles being built. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I could all right, well, are people going to want to build this way or that way? I could even do a huge crowd thing where it's all right, you guys vote how you want me to build whatever. But that's not what the strategy is for me this year. This year is I'm looking at it. I'm getting paid to build whatever I want. And what I want is I want to build this old Jeep truck that I've owned forever. And I want to make it weird in the ways that I like and make it cool in the ways that I like. And I'm just going to make a truck for me. And I think I'm honestly probably going to get more votes just because it's more authentic anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
one thing that Jimmy and I found when doing the podcast is people just like authenticity. They like genuineness. And the more that you can just be another person doing what you love, the more that people love it.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I genuinely love the 80. I've wanted to build one forever, but I did build it in a way that I thought would be the most relatable, not what was the most interesting to me. And I think that probably came through in some way.
You should have done like a chop top convertible 80 then.
Yeah.
That's perfect for the PNW area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Just carry a tarp with you. You're good.
So what are you building this year? What's happening?
Well, I know I'm going to get some crap online for this for making it a dually, but it's dude, I love the Cummins platform. I love dualies. I've owned a lot of dualies, and I've always wanted to build an off-road dually. And so I'm going to build the J10. The J10, honestly, and I'm sorry for any full-size Jeep listeners, but the platform is shit as a platform. It was okay for its time, but compared to the options you have now, I mean, it's just not a great frame. It's not a great engine. It's not a great transmission, not a great transfer case. The AMC 20 rear end is problematic. The Dana 44 front is okay, right, but it's not great. And so when I looked at what I like about the J10 the most, after letting it sit in my garage or in my shop, just staring at it for the last 5 years, it was what I like the most is the looks. Yeah. It's just a cool looking truck. Vibes off that thing are incredible.
It's a rad. It has, I don't think I've ever looked into the J10 before, and I pulled them up right now on my phone, but it has the front end and the front clip of a not a scrambler, a Wagoneer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with a truck bed and cab, it's pretty cool.
Exactly. They're really neat. There's not a lot of them around. And so what I was thinking is well, what's my favorite trucks to own out of everything I've owned? And I love second gen Dodge Rams, and it's not because of the interior, and it's not because of the looks. I think they're ugly trucks. I love the drivetrain in them. The Cummins, the 24 valve and the 12 valve Cummins are just such good, solid platforms. Yeah. And they get unbelievable fuel economy. They tow very well. And so the more I thought about it, I was I just need to take the body off the J10 and put it on a more modern chassis or on a more modern frame. And so it's I started with I got a really good deal on a 1999 Dodge Ram 1-ton dually, 4-wheel drive. And my original thought was, well, I can drop this body on it. This dually comes with a Dana 80 rear stock, Dana 60 front stock. I've got the Cummins. It's an automatic, which is not my favorite. I do not like Dodge automatics, but I can work with it. And then all I'd have to do is figure out a doubler setup or something for a T case, and then build some suspension and stuff. But then once I actually started working on it and comparing prices, oh, well, instead of taking this Dodge 2-piece front axle 60, it's $1,000 in axle shafts to put chrome ollies in that thing. It's actually cheaper to pull the Dana 60 out and just put a 08 Super Duty front. I got a 08 Super 60 for $600. Nice. And now I have bigger brakes and bigger ball joints and, selectable hubs. And I mean, it's a no brainer. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking at the rear, and then I started looking at costs to build the Dana 80 versus building a 14 bolt. I was oh, I can buy a Corvette 14 bolt and build it for way less than just putting a locker in the 80 already.
Jeez.
So,
yeah.
slowly replacing all the stuff that I thought were the great qualities of this truck, but it's still, at least it's a super solid 1-ton frame, which is great. The engine, transmission, transfer case are already located in it. I'm not having to do an engine swap, right? It's easier to swap a body, in my opinion, than do like a full engine swap.
Yeah.
So I wanted to keep it dually, but I don't want it to be so wide I can't get through trails. So I found the narrowest 14 bolt you can buy, which is the cabin chassis 14 bolts. Are you guys familiar with these at all?
No.
Yeah. So, dude, check this out. The axle that I got was out of an old square body Chevy cabin chassis truck.
Okay.
And for wheel mount surface to wheel mount surface, it's a dually. From wheel mount surface to wheel mount surface is 63 inches.
Wow.
What?
That's pretty much the same width as your the 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, dude. And so the way they did those is instead, so like with a normal dually, your inside tire follows your front tire, and with a cabin chassis dually, the outside tire follows your front tire.
Wow.
So they're
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
way
they
narrower.
suck in that inside tire
Yes.
a lot.
Which solves some problems and creates other ones.
Yeah.
Once I start building the suspension, I'll have to find out if I need to notch the frame or anything. Right now, the measurement of inside tire to outside of frame is pretty close. I have like 3 inches, but until I actually get you can't get like dually bead locks, so I'm going to be doing DIY bead locks around. So once I actually get the 37s mounted on the bead locks and I actually get it in there, I'll be able to figure out if I need to like narrow the frame or anything back there. So again, it solves some problems. Like it won't be so wide it can't get through like between trees and shit, but it also creates other ones where like, well, now I need to figure out how
to package
do that.
stuff.
But
Yeah.
the fun in these projects, right, is just packaging.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have you thought about taking out the automatic and doing like an NV4500 in there? Or?
I would love to, but it won't be in the budget of the build challenge because
Gotcha.
I prefer manuals. I just because my wife didn't feel comfortable with me driving this little K truck around, I just went out and bought a 2001 Dodge Ram Cummins 6-speed manual. I love driving diesel manuals.
Nice.
But yeah, it would be great to throw a manual in there, but that may be after the build challenge or something. But those to get everything to swap, I mean, you're looking at like $4 or $5K. I mean, even if you got like super good deals on everything, you're still looking at probably like $3,500.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
That is true. Well, that's going to be rad, dude.
Thanks.
Jimmy's been wanting to for a while take an OBS Ford and drop it on a 2020 chassis or something, a 6.7 chassis. Yeah. So
just do a body swap on a new vehicle with the old school body. I think it'd be rad.
I've seen that. Maybe not on one that new, but I have seen like way more modern 6.7 Fords where people are dropping older Ford bodies on them and stuff. That's pretty cool.
I'm in a few old school Ford groups on Facebook, and there's people even swapping the dashes into the old vehicles, which I think is kind of interesting as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. There's some real talented fabricators out there, man, and doing some really cool swaps and stuff.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? How about that? How about we just go to the interior of the J10? Are you going to leave it the same? You're going to move some of the Ford or the Dodge stuff over there? Or how does that incorporate? Are you going to run 2 computers? Like how's that work?
I keep waffling on this, man, because the measurements are so similar between the two trucks. It's shocking. Like I could definitely fit like the Dodge bench seat in there, but I've got 2 PRP seats in there. I'm just going to keep the buckets for now, I think. But like the dash, same thing. It's like, I feel like I could put this dash in here, but it's old 90s plastic that they're all notorious for cracking. And like, sure. I'm not like ahead because I do that. So my original plan was to just cut the firewalls out of both trucks. The driver's side firewall where the steering and brake assembly and all that is. And I was just going to basically swap the Dodge or just weld the Dodge firewall with brakes and hydro boost and, steering and all that, just weld it into the firewall of the J10 just to make it super simple.
Yeah. And
then I was going to just keep like the Dodge column with, cruise control and all that, but it won't have the look that I want. That's the thing is like, I'm such a nerd for looks. Like I want it to still feel kind of like a J10 in there, or at least like a buggy, but definitely not like a 90s truck. Like, so I don't know. All that plastic does nothing for me. So I'm kind of waffling back and forth on which route to go on interior. And we don't have to have a cage this year. I wouldn't. It's hard to put a cage in a truck cab and not have it be like dangerous.
Yeah.
You know. So I have a cage in there now, and it's okay, but I almost did it more as like just a way to locate the seats and whatnot. And so yeah, the interior is something I haven't figured out. That's gonna be one that I'll be working on over the next few weeks as I'm starting to package everything else, and I'll just kind of daydream about it and figure out a plan. The only other thing I haven't talked to you guys about, I guess, that I figured out is the transfer cases. So I got a Dodge NP203 out of it's like a 70s Dodge 23 spline, and it's a 23 spline output on this transmission, and then a Ford NP205. So I'm just doing like a off-road design doubler.
Yeah, cool.
And packaging all that together.
Nice.
But and then I got a great deal on a 8274. So I've got it's just so period correct for that truck to have a upright Warren on the front of it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
When is the build challenge? When do you need to have all this done by?
Like the week before SEMA. We're going to be meeting down somewhere in Arizona, doing a bunch of nasty trails. It's so funny. This thing has changed so much. This year they were going to make this more overland friendly, and we were supposed to all build like overland rigs. There was going to be like a maximum tire size, all this. And then that just changed at some point, and now everybody's building buggies and oh my God.
Oh man.
So, but I know we're gonna be wheeling somewhere in Arizona and then working our way up to SEMA, and these are gonna be at booth at SEMA. All the build challenge vehicles will be.
Are they all gonna be at the OnX booth?
I don't think OnX is gonna have a booth. I think but Ian Johnson, the guy who puts he's like the host of this build challenge. He's like some sort of a member at SEMA and was able to pull some strings so that we would have a space to show all these vehicles there.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so you'll have a build challenge booth, more or less.
Yeah, more or less. I don't know much of the details. I just know that my truck's going to be there for that week.
That's awesome.
So
that's
I guess as long as I make it there.
Yeah, it's always been a somewhat of a goal of mine to figure out how to get a vehicle into SEMA. I think that there's somewhat of to some extent, some bragging rights there. It's like, oh yeah, I've had a vehicle in SEMA. That's not a big deal.
Oh, totally, bro. Especially if it's something you built, and so last year, I feel the same way. And last year, it was the first year I had a vehicle at SEMA. They had my Samurai in the power stop brake booth, and it's just awesome to. Anytime I walk by, there's people from all over the world taking pictures with it, and it's just it's really cool to have so many people that are so serious about the automotive industry be able to check out your work.
Yeah.
And so that was a giant thing for me.
Yeah.
Being able to have a vehicle there.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's just a pride, right? I mean, we've always had SEMA sort of be this top of the tier, the best of the best. And, at where we all sit, in our creative careers in off-roading, it's always been a drive for, us to get there. Even just go in person, because it's hard to get into. And then two, once you go in person, you were like, how cool would it be if I ever got a vehicle into this? So kudos to you. Glad you finally achieved that goal and everything. But I wanted to ask, because isn't there a gap between the end of your J10 cab and the bed of your of the dually truck? Is there a space there, or are you shrinking the frame? Do you having to extend it? How's that working?
Yeah, I'm shrinking the frame. I want it to be I want the wheelbase to be really similar to my wife's Gladiator. So it's 137, because I want it to be long enough that I could still tow with it and it not feel dangerous. But I want it to be short enough that it could still be actually usable off-road and do real trails. So my wife's Gladiator, I've found, is actually a really nice balance. The more we use it, the more I'm amazed with just how versatile it is. And, what's funny is 15 years ago, I would have thought 137 is just laughable. You can't get that anywhere.
Yep.
But, now that I've wheeled my Tacoma so much at 129 and her Gladiator quite a bit at 137, it's dude, if if you're choosy enough and you're smart with the way you pick your lines and stuff, you can still have a pretty decent length. That said, I think that the length on this 1-ton Dodge was like 157 or something like that. So that's where you're seeing that gap. So my plan is to chop down the frame. The dually bed that's on it is just because I need, like, honestly, I'm using that thing as a wheelbarrow. I've got a bunch of parts and stuff in the bed. And so now that it's here and it's at my house, we're going to pull that bed off. And I've been going back and forth on whether or not to build a custom flatbed or use the Jeep bed. And we're still right on the razor's edge of making that decision. Like, I can see both directions being so fun. I love the classic look of the Jeep bed. I love the Jeep tailgate. It's got great patina, but I also like the practicality of a flatbed, and like you build the whole thing out of steel, you can put it into a tree and you're not crying about it at all. Whereas like if I start just destroying this Jeep bed, it's going to suck,
Yeah.
So
you could do a combo. I don't know. I don't mean to cut you off, but did you see the?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Did you see what Jenna and Alex did? Frosty 4-wheeler on their truck.
No.
Check out what they did on their truck. They built a custom bed, and it's sort of like a flat bed with some square tube framing on it, with a pretty neat how they did just their everything to tie stuff down. It's super stout, but you could incorporate the Jeep truck, the JT10, the J10 tailgate on something like that as well, and sort of have the best of both the worlds and make something that would work really well with what you need it.
That's something that we've talked about too. It's we're not there yet. The good thing is I don't have to make that decision quite yet.
Yeah.
I will have to make it soon, but right now, what I'm going to be working on this week is still just getting the cab 100% located. We're like almost there, and then I'm going to be starting on probably building out the suspension. And then as I get some of that stuff nailed down, I'll have to make a decision on the bed. Then it's. Nice. One thing that we are surprised about when Nick and I were measuring last week, now that we have everything here, we were able to pull some more measurements and brainstorm, is that with this new dually axle that I got, I'm not going to have to build some big crazy dually flares for the bed. They could be really minimalist and fit really nice with the factory bed, which makes me lean more towards factory bed. I like that look. And I like that, a truck bed is really practical in the fact that you got those high sides and stuff. Whereas like usually with a flatbed, you're making some sacrifices in that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Plus, I want to be able to say it's a Jeep, but like if it's just a cab and a grill, it's like, well, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
At least if it's the whole body with the bed, it's like it's going to be so much easier to identify this as a Jeep truck on a Dodge chassis,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of waffling back and forth on which way to go.
Nice. I think it's going to be a lot of fun either way. It's super unique. I don't know if anybody that's done that before, especially by keeping the Dodge drivetrain and engine and everything, the Cummins in and everything too. So I think it's going to be rad no matter what you end up doing. And I'm looking forward to seeing it in action and hopefully getting out and seeing it at SEMA too this year. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah. Well, if you guys are going to SEMA, hit me up for sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let you know. It's going to be up in the air for me this year, but Jimmy might be able to go.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, Tyler had his first kid ever this year.
Ever
that he knows of.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah.
Yeah. How old's baby Reed now?
Congratulations, man.
2 months?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, so 3.5 now. But
oh boy, you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better. The first 2 months, not gonna lie, was eye-opening. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But it's getting a lot better now. But yeah, it has put a big damper on any overnight activities for a little bit here. So
oh, totally. Yeah. It's all hands on deck to keep those little people alive, man. They're just like, so just the way they get into everything and they're just trying to fall and it's just insane. Like, yeah, once you get like, well, like you said, though, you're out of the worst of the worst for sure. But man, once you hit like a year-ish, like that beyond, it just gets funner and funner and funner. Like my kids are, well, my son's about to turn 7 and my daughter's going to be turning 5 shortly thereafter. And they're just a blast, dude. They're freaking hilarious. They're like, they're sweet and they're everything. It just makes it so much fun. So you have a lot of fun ahead of you, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's what I keep hearing. I'm excited. I can't wait to get him out onto different trails and go snake hunting and hiking and camping and exploring. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Dude.
I'm excited.
Dude, not that I need to give you any parenting advice, but one thing I would highly recommend is start them super, super early.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've watched a few of my friends who didn't start their kids going off road or camping very early, and now they're like, they're gamers. Like, they're trying to get my buddy's trying to get his sons into this off road stuff, but it's just a little bit tougher.
Mm-hmm.
And camping now that they spent most of their childhood inside. And so, like with my kids, I mean, they're like at 2, they're pooping in the woods. They're doing all the stuff that, none of it's uncomfortable or odd for them because they've been like indoctrinated into the outdoors lifestyle. And they seem so much more comfortable in all environments, I think, because they sleep in the snow with dad.
Yeah.
Or they go get in the, like,
yeah. Yeah, you get to put them in a bunch of different weirder situations that they kind of have to figure out how to adapt to. So,
yeah, it's important, man. I think that it's always good to start your kids early on the outdoor stuff.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I agree.
So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I have a 10-year-old, and the off-road trails are too bumpy. She can't play her Switch on.
Yeah,
she doesn't want to go. I'm like, no. Look out the window. It's beautiful here. Well, but why? I want to play Mario Kart. Like, okay.
Oh, dude, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can go to vote, how they can possibly view other people that don't really matter in this contest because you're the only one that does matter. So.
Well, yeah. So the link is kind of a weird link, but if you just Google like OnX Build Challenge vote, like you should be able to find it pretty easily. You do need to be an OnX member in order to vote. I know that you guys are very Toyota focused, and this is not a Toyota project, but I am a Toyota lover. So if you want to support a Toyota lover, come vote for us. It'd be great to win this year. And the winner this year, there's no like going to Ultimate Adventure or anything. We get like $10,000, which my goal, if I won that, it would go towards fueling our savings to start this new off-road shop. So we're just trying to invest everything now towards opening up our own off-road shop.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's cool, man.
I'm excited to hear that project too. That's we'll have to definitely keep in contact and see what's going on there.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, whenever we open up, I'd love to have you guys at the grand opening. It'd be great to have you up here.
That'd make for a great trip up north. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have, I know this is far-fetched. Is there any rough timeline on any of that? Or is it just as soon as it happens, it happens?
Well, to be honest, I thought it was going to happen last year, but it's all stepping stones. I came to the realization, like before I open up, wherever I open up an off-road shop is probably going to anchor us in that community. So I didn't want to do it before we found the house we were going to move into. So now we actually know what county we're going to live in and what town we're going to live in. Now it's going to be easier for me to do the off-road shop thing. So right now I'm trying to get home life back together. I want to get everything established here. I want to get ahead of all my contracts for YouTube, like, the OnX stuff and all that. And I'm hoping within like the next year and a half or so to have a really solid idea of like how soon this is going to happen. But it's something that we've been talking about ever since I quit my job as a plumber to do YouTube. Was like, how rad would it be if I had my own off-road shop and I was making content of me and all the guys I work with just building cool shit every day. And so that is the big goal, is to be able to do the cool builds, and still like people who can't afford to like pay to have us build their stuff, they can still watch, and I'll still be teaching and showing how you can do it yourself. Like, yeah. I want to have that kind of relationship with my audience. So that's the very long answer of like, I'm not sure yet on when we're going to be opening, but it is something that has been on the forefront of my mind and a big goal of mine. So it will happen eventually.
Nice. Awesome. Well, we're excited for that, and we're here to help however possible. And I would love to be up there and join for the grand opening. I think that'd be a blast.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. If people want to watch more of your content and see what you're up to, where can they do that at?
Just Google or YouTube Dirt Lifestyle. If you type in Dirt Lifestyle on anything, we come up now for pretty much everywhere. So yeah, or you could just Google it, or on social media, I'm Dat Dirt Lifestyle Nate. If you want to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that.
Sweet. I like it. Jimmy, if people have questions for Nate that they want to send through us, how can they do that?
Yeah, you can find me over at SnailTrail4x4. Tyler's over at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. You can email us, Jimmy or Tyler, at SnailTrail4x4, or you can phone in at area code 916-345-4744, and you can be a part of our, what do you want, snail mail episodes, customer feedback episodes, however you want to call that. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Mr. Nate, any final words for everybody out there to kind of wrap up and close up the episode?
The only final words I have is the last MORRFlate thing that I got from you is outstanding. I have been using it for like a year now. So this is me plugging you, buddy.
Oh, cool.
Being able to automatically set the temp or the pressure and just walk away is an absolute game changer. And as someone who goes off road nonstop, this has been an outstanding tool in my toolkit.
That's awesome. I have another fun toy coming for you, and they might actually, I just got confirmation. I think they're going to be here this Friday.
Whoa.
So,
oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'll be getting in contact with you next week and send another fun toy out for you.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Sweet. Jimmy, any final words for everybody out there?
R.I.P. Tacoma.
Oh, too soon.
Well, the city. I mean, you moved out of the city, right?
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Tacoma that got totaled last night. We didn't even scratch the surface on that.
It could be both. I was sort of leaving it up in the air there.
Well, maybe I'll have to come back on and we'll have to talk about my Tacoma issue that happened last night.
Yeah, well, I was gonna bring that up, but we're running a little long here, so we'll have to have you back on to talk about the Tacoma. I think you have some things to figure out with it. So once you figure out the game plan, we'll have you back on to chat about that one.
That sounds good. I could use your guys' advice too on like what platform to build next. So,
ooh, so many fun ideas, especially if you have a spare set of Unimog axles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe a spare set of the RCLT. Who knows how that held up?
Yeah, it seems like it held up great. So that's what I was getting at. Is like, do I build a FJ Cruiser? Do I build a LX 450 or not? Oh wait, sorry, GX 470. Is that the other one?
Yeah,
the 470s. Yeah.
Or
yeah, I think that's the same
gen.
front suspension. I think it's the same front suspension as the Tacoma, if I remember correctly. So all that RCLT could go in multiple directions.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, cool. Let's leave it at that. We'll have a teaser for next time we have you on. And I guess without nothing else to say, keep crawling, everybody.
I got one for you.
You have one of your own?
I do.
You're not using other people's jokes anymore, Jimmy?
Well, I heard it somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I heard it online, and then I thought that was funny, so I wrote it down so that I could repeat it to you.
Okay. Cite your sources, please, sir.
Instagram, I think.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right, what do we got?
Do you know what type of music electric vehicle drivers listen to?
Polka.
No.
Techno.
Techno's a good guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what I would listen
electric
to.
music,
Yeah.
electronic music. I get that, but it's actually AC/DC
Yeah.
or something current.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I wasn't on board until you said the second half of
Yeah.
it. So, okay.
Check that one off.